Hi everyone. I'm here to show you all about printing and downloading in the Grid Designer. So once you've got a project and you want to have it printed out so you can work on that, there are basically two things you can do. One is the print option here, and in the print option, it will print, if the project is small, it'll print on a single page, if it's small enough to print on a page. But it will, if you have a larger project, it'll break that project picture up into multiple pages. When those pages become too many, which happens for the really large projects, I'll show you one that I've got on a grid that's 300 by 200 and something cells. But when it gets to be so large that it breaks it up into multiple pages, it becomes difficult to deal with it on a small printer. And so there is also a download option. This download image option will download the same thing that would be printed, but it will all be in a single picture. And then you have you can use whatever tool you would like to. You could open it and print it differently, and using some other tool, anything that could open an image file like a PNG or a JPG file would work. Or what I did with mine, since it was a very large image, I wanted it printed on a larger sheet of paper. So I sent it to Staples, and I'll show you at the end of this video the Staples tool, online web tool that works in your browser, where you can upload a picture for them and pick a larger size of paper. 18 by 20 is what I chose, but they go all the way, I think, to 36 by 48 or something like that. So you can print your project on just about any size piece of paper that you want. And it wasn't terribly expensive. My picture only cost about $3, so not terribly expensive to do that. But first, I'm going to show you the print option here and how it breaks that up. And I'll show you a small project, and I'll show you how it breaks it up into pages. And then we'll talk about some different print options, numbering, how to change the numbering and that kind of thing, putting the some rule lines on that will draw solid lines every 5 or 10 lines so that you can use that when you're reading your printout. And I'll also show you something that I've changed recently is to allow a lot more symbol options. So you now have the ability of printing symbols on top of colors on your chart when you print it out or when you download it. And you also can either pick an auto-generate option, which will just go through the alphabet and print all the different letters on the colors as they're needed. Or you can actually assign particular symbols to your particular colors. And so I'll be showing that towards the end. I'm going to start at the very beginning with the simple printing, and then we'll go on into larger printing and printing with symbols. So that you can you should be able to print anything. If you have something very large, again, you also have this download option, which I'll also show you at the end of this video. Okay, and then at the very end, I'll show you what my printout actually looks like when I printed mine on 18 by 20 paper through Staples. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open something relatively small. Let's take this little green snowflake here. That's a 19 by 19 grid. And so this, being fairly small, if I go and I pick the project print option, it needs just a little bit to generate the print data. And then basically you've got two options here. The print option invokes whatever the browser uses to print web pages. So when you click on this print option, I'm currently using the Google Chrome browser, and that UI looks like this. So this is what they do, and they will show you the pages that are going to be printed, and it's really very nice. And then depending upon your printer, there will be things that you can select here for printing, like number of pages you want and things like that. And then you would just click the print button to have that send to your printer, assuming that you have a printer in-house. So I'll just click cancel on there. And then there are other browsers that are not as nice as Google Chrome. And Google Chrome, if you go to Google, you can download Chrome, the browser, for free. There's no, it's not no charge for that. And it's a very nice browser. It's the one that I use for all of my development. But some other browsers are out there, Microsoft Edge, which also will show you when you click the print option, the pages that are going to be printed. It has a fairly nice UI, but something like Firefox will not do that. Or you could be on your on a different browser, and you would not have such nice options. So you have also this other option I call View in Window, which puts this up into another browser window where you can actually view the pages that are going to print there. This is more important when the pages are broken up and you want to see what they're going to look like. And there's generally a print option from this also. So there's multiple different ways that you can look at this. This puts it in the view in Window will show you it as a separate web page that you can then use, whatever you can print in whatever way you want. Okay. Then when you're done here, when you're done printing or looking at it or whatever, and then you click close. Okay, and it comes back out. Now, one thing that you might have noticed when I click the print option here is that it does add numbers around the outside. So for printing and for download, it always adds numbers. It numbers the rows. The default is to number the rows from the bottom up and to number the columns from the left side, and then the other one numbers them from the right side. So that's the default printing scale. Okay, so if we want to change the way the numbering works, under display, there's something called more options. And in here, there are two types of numbering for right now. There's a normal numbering, which numbers the left side, the right side, the top side, and the bottom side, either one way or the other. So the bottom would go left to right or right to left. So you can switch that here. Or if you're going to be working from the top of your pattern down, you might want to number from the top to the bottom as opposed to from the bottom to the top. So you have some flexibility there. If you do corner to corner crochet, then there's a corner to corner option, which will start the numbering from one corner, and then it will wrap all the way around the entire design. If you're familiar with corner to corner crochet, you understand why that is, but basically that's the way it's worked. It's worked from one corner diagonally across the entire project. Okay, but normal numbering is good for 99% of everything. You also have a choice here in cell size, so you can pick small cells. If you have something that will almost fit on a page and you want to make it a little bit smaller, you can pick small cells. They're a little small to read, it seems like to me. The medium ones, I do pretty well with those. And then you can make larger cells too, which will take a little bit more space. And if you download it, it'll be a little larger picture. So, you have to keep that in mind. But medium cells works pretty well for most of the printing, and that is the default. Okay, so this is the way you would change your numbers. Let's say that we wanted to change and make these go top to bottom, just to show you. We save it like this. If we want to see it on the display, then we have to turn numbering on. Okay, so that was display. There's a show or hide numbering option here. And that will put the numbering on. And notice that now it's numbering from the top to the bottom on the rows. And you can change the top and the bottom scale too, so that it would number one way or the other. Okay, let me open something a little bit larger now. We'll open this. I did a baby elephant on a sweater for my youngest grandson, and this was the design for the elephant. And it's a little bit larger. We've got 63 rows and 60 columns, or sorry, 63 columns and 60 rows or so. And so just to show you that when this prints, then it will break it up into pages so that at a medium cell size, it will fit onto a printed page, onto a regular size piece of paper. So this prints in 2 pages, which is not too bad. And I printed it like this, and I used it like that. The other thing you could do is you could cut along this line here, and you could actually tape the 2 sides together if you wanted to make one single pattern. But it was not difficult for me to read it from this format. So, and it's, you know, nice because I can just print it on my printer at home, and that makes it that much simpler. So you would just go ahead and print this if you wanted to print it. We'll cancel it. Again, you could view it in another window. And what that window will show you is the 2 pages that are going to be printed. So if you have a browser that doesn't show you that in a print preview, this is a way that you can see those pages that would be printed. Okay, let's open a little bigger project. Let's see. Let's go for this one here, 96 by 120, so it's a little larger still. And when we go through the printing of that, we'll see that it's broken up into a few more pages because now the vertically it doesn't fit on a page. So it's got the top that starts from the left side, top and bottom, and then there's a middle, and then there's a right side. And then there's always a color key at the end, which tells you how many cells are using each color, and tells you what the colors look like, the names of the colors. Okay, so that would break that up, you know, even further. And when you get to something really large, which is something that I created from a digital image, I had a picture of some apple trees outside my house. So this one is 300 by 200 and something. If you ever want to look at the size of your project or the information in the project, you go to go to the project menu and then project information. And this will tell you everything about your project. It'll tell you what palette you're using. It'll tell you how big the project is, and that kind of thing. And if you've got the size defined in terms of a gauge or something like that, then it will tell you how large the actual finished project will be. So this will tell you all the colors that are used and how many cells they're all used in. Okay. So if we wanted to print this, and we use the regular print option with the medium size cells, then we get something that has to be pretty well broken up. That's the entire left side. So the entire left side takes 4 sheets of paper. And then it's going to print the centers. So that's 4 more, and then that's 4 more, and then that's 4 more, until we get to the right-hand side. Okay, and then we get our color key at the end. So at this point, it becomes much more difficult if you want to print this on your regular printer at home. It becomes much more difficult to manage all those pages. They can be put together and assembled into one large, piece of one large chart. But the other way to do it is to download this as a single file and have it printed at a place like Staples or some other printing shop where they can print on a larger piece of paper. Then you can have one single piece of paper that you can look at. Okay, so basically, and with this one, there was a lot of colors. There's 42 colors in this, and some of them are fairly close together. They're fairly close in color to some of the other colors that are used. And you've got some darker colors in here, and certainly once you print this, you're not going to be able to tell the difference maybe between one of these and another. So in addition to the problem of the pages being broken up, we also have the problem of when you have lots and lots of colors in your chart, particularly if you've digitized an image, then you have to deal with that. So what we need for that are some symbol options, and those are also here on the more display options. So you pick the display menu, you pick more display options, and down here is an option for printing, which allows you to print symbols over the colors. So once you check that box, then you've got two options. You can either auto-generate the symbols, or you can assign symbols to colors. You can manually decide which symbol is going to go onto what color. And the symbols, include the basic alphabet, but there are also a lot of other symbols in here, triangles and things. So there's all kinds of stuff in here. So you should be able to find options that will work, for you and what you want to use on your particular colors. But for now, let's just pick the auto-generate symbols, and we'll say save that. And if we go in here and we say print, we're going to get auto-generated symbols. It starts with the alphabet, goes through all the uppercase letters, and then the lowercase letters, and then starts using other symbols and things after that. So that's the auto-generation, what that looks like. And if you click the print, it'll break it up into pages so that you can print it out. If you want to download it, then you can pick download, and you will get one single PNG file that will contain the entire picture that you can print anywhere you want. Okay, so just to show you, that's the auto generate option. And now we can also assign colors to symbols. So we might want to pick this yellow. We pick the yellow, the symbol that we want to assign, and then we click assign on it. And I'm going to do the same with this yellow because it's fairly close to that other one. So we'll do that. So then we'll have symbols for that. And you might want to go through your colors and then pick things that you think are fairly close together. Let's pick that one and assign it, and this one and assign it, and pick that one and assign something. And again, there are other options down here, some shapes and things like that. We might want to pick, say, these two grays and assign something to that. Another gray and assign something to that, so that we can tell the difference between those two colors when they're printed on the chart. Okay, some colors are very distinctive and are not, are something that you can see when you get your chart printed out, and others are very close to other colors, and you might want to put symbols on those. If you want to remove a symbol, you just select it and then you click remove, and that will take it off. And if you want to put it back, we can pick that, and we could put something else on it like that. Okay. Then when you're done, you can say save. Okay. And right now, I don't show symbols on the chart while you're editing it. That might be an option in the future. Right now, those symbols are used only for printing and download. So if we do print, this is what the picture is going to look like, and you can see the symbols are written on the colors that I selected. You can print it then, which would break it up into pages, or we can go and download it. So let's try download with this really large picture. Okay, so it does the same sort of thing. It generates the download data first, and then when it's done, you can click the download button to download the picture of the chart part of the output, or you can also select the download key, which will download the color key along with the symbols that are on the colors that you selected. So if you pick download, at the time that you click this button, from the time you click this button, your browser is now in charge of that download. So if you, depending upon how you have your settings set in the browser, and I will show you Chrome settings in just a minute, but I've got it set in my Chrome browser in its settings area. I've got it set so that it will ask me for where I want to put the download and what the name is of the download that I want to name it. If you do not have that set up in your browser, then most browsers will download to a download folder, and you can see where that folder is located on your machine by going into your browser settings, and I'll show you that in a minute. But I'm going to download this picture here. I'm putting it into this demo photos folder, which I need to remember. Okay, and in Chrome, you can often open up the folder that it downloaded to so that you can see the pictures there, so that you can see the contents of that folder, including what you just downloaded. And then you would want to download your key because that's your color key. This just, the default is to put key underscore in front of whatever name you had for your project. You can always change this name if you have your browser set up so that you can access that. Okay, and so now we have this color key. So here it is. So if I double click it on my Windows, I have a Windows 10 machine, then it will be displayed with the default Windows picture. I don't know what this is called, picture tool or something. But you can also open this in Windows Paint, or you could open it in some other editor. Anything that can edit a picture or an image of some kind is fine to open this with. So you can see that this is basically a picture of the color key, and you can then print this from whatever application you open it with. There's a way to print it from here. This is the default thing in Windows. So there's a way to print it from here if you want to on a piece of paper. And then the other one, which is now a pretty good sized, it's 2860 by 3786. So that's pretty good sized. It's 10 meg. So it's pretty good sized picture. We could open that on something on our machine, but the way I printed mine was to go to Staples, and I'll show you Staples. Okay, so here's staples.com, and they have printing services. So you go to services, you pick printing services, and what you look for is go to document printing, and then blueprints is really a good area for what you want, because you want a larger piece of paper, something like what you would print a blueprint on. And they do color charts also. So, but you just need you need some kind of large piece of paper. So you say start project, and you want to upload a file from your computer. So I picked my computer, and we go over here to demo photos. Here's my latch hook. So I would load that up. Okay, so their UI uploads the files. File. Okay, and then you say continue. And then it gives you different sizes of paper. So you can make your chart as large as you'd like. Scale to fit, you most likely want to put that on. I know that the 18 by 24 here was not large enough to print my entire picture. So it had to be scaled down a little bit to fit on the paper. But you can pick a larger size if you want to. I did it 18 by 24. You can pick color or black and white. Pick number of copies. And then you choose how you want to have it delivered. You can have it, I believe you can have it mailed to you. I say continue as guest. They have, oh yes, definitely. So they have ground, express, expedited delivery. So you can actually, if you don't live next to a Staples, I live relatively close to a Staples, so I can go and pick it up. But you can have it sent to you, and or you could just go and pick it up where you are. Because of COVID right now, it's nice they've got it set up so that if you call the store, they'll actually bring it out to your car. And this is only $3. It's not it's not an arm and a leg to print this thing on a larger sheet of paper. So it's $3 to do this. You add it to your cart, you give them your information, credit card and all of that kind of thing. And then and you can have it show up at your door, or if you're close by, you can pick it up. So anyway, and I'm sure there are other companies out there. I'm not really pushing Staples. I just have one close to me, and they have a nice UI that works really well right there in the browser that uploads my picture, and so it's relatively convenient for me. But I'm sure there are other um, printing places that have services like that where you can get this picture, get your picture printed. Okay, just take a quick look at my notes. I think I've gone through everything. Oh, one other feature that I really should have turned on before I made my download and before I did my print is rule lines. So you can add heavier rule lines on your project, say every 10 cells. And what this will do is it'll print a grid on your project. And when you go to do print or download, then you will see these heavier lines printed every 10 squares. And that really helps, particularly on a large picture, on a large chart. It really helps you keep your place when you're working. So and you can count, from these lines that you're one up from that line and that kind of thing, and it makes it a whole lot easier to work that way. So you can add those. They're not automatically added when you print or you download. You have to go and select them from the display menu and turn them on before you do your print. One other thing that I wanted to show was the browser settings. So let's go in here. So if we go to, like I said, I'm using Google Chrome. But generally, there will be some kind of menu. They often use the three dots or three lines to indicate that there's a menu somewhere at the top of your browser. And then you want to pick settings and look for, in this case, it's under Advanced Downloads. And then there's this setting up here. So when I click download to download the file, the picture file, what the Chrome browser does is it pops up a dialog and asks me, and I can put it where I want it, and I can rename it. And that's because this setting is on. When this setting is not on, then the file automatically goes to whatever the default name was that was given, and it goes into the downloads folder, which can be changed here. So it will show up in your downloads folder. So if you look at Microsoft Edge or other browsers, they almost always have a setting like this that will allow you to put the file somewhere else. Possibly not if you're on an iPhone. It may just end up in a download folder. And then you'll need to go and find out where that is. Usually that'll be set up somewhere in your browser settings so that you can figure out where the file has gone. Okay, so now one other thing that I wanted to do is once this is printed, I want to show you a printout. So I'm doing a screen recording right now. So hang on, and I'll show you what this picture actually looks like when it's printed. Okay, I just wanted to show you this printed on an 18 by 24 inch piece of paper, using a little masking tape to hold that down on the table for now, just so I can have it open. It has all the numbering, you know, on the sides of the, and all the symbols are there, and they printed pretty clearly also. So they did a good job printing it out. So just wanted to show you what it looks like once you get it printed.